Hi guys. So today I'm going to introduce you to the first lesson. And so basically this lesson consists of basic biology that you need a foundation on to understand some of the concepts that I'm going to show you. So first off, you have all humans have a brain and a spinal cord, and this is called chordate. So basically we stand up, and this is unique to us as Homo sapiens. Our body, then, in this sense, is divided into a central nervous system and then a peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system is comprised of the brain, while the peripheral nervous system extends throughout the body. And also in the central nervous system, these nerves go into the spine. So, with this, these signals will travel through these systems of the central and the peripheral nervous system into the brain. And a signal that exits or is going away from the brain is called efferent with an E. But signals going towards the brain are called afferent with an A. You could think of this like efferent being exit and afferent just being itself. So we also have 4 different lobes in the brain. We have the temporal, parietal, frontal, and occipital. The frontal lobe deals with executive function and planning and thinking about the future. And there are other functions to all of these too, but I'm giving you just a basic run through. Parietal lobe deals with the location of sensory information in the body through space. The temporal lobe has to do with hearing and sensing things as well. It's also involved sometimes with migraines, some seizure disorders. And then the occipital lobe in the rear of the brain is deals with being able to see and perception. And these all go a lot more in depth, but this is just a little quick run through. And if you like these kinds of biology lessons too, I'll put more of them and I'll do more of them for you if you'd like that. And I'm also going to show you a picture of the brain and these lobes. But there's also other functions too. So you have a brain stem, and this brain stem has a pons, a medulla, and then it extends to the area postrema. So the pons is a bridge for sensory information through audio and visual input, and it's wired as such that it helps them cross. So in other words, your brain has contralateral control over your body, which means that one side manages the other side. So in other words, if somebody has a seizure, if one area of the brain is damaged on the left, then that means they may have a problem with their right arm or something like that. So we have, but this is also complex. What would determine if I had a stroke and in one part of my body had a specific issue? Well, in a way, that's kind of a good thing because you had this stroke, it was only a certain aspect of the brain. And this is a protective function. Because the brain is highly specialized and every area is so specific, then what this means is that if there is any damage that the brain sustains, it's protected to a certain extent. So, in other words, if I paralyzed, but I might not be able to move my foot. Make sense? So we also have to think about neurons. We're going to start with neurons. There are other kinds of cells. There are about 10,000 different kinds of neurons. But basically, and I'll show you a picture too, a neuron looks like a root. Or some people say it's a tree. But you have a cell body, so it's circular kind of, maybe an oval. It varies depending on the neuron. And then there's also the nucleus in it, which processes nutrients and things like that. You then, on the outside of this, cell body, you have dendrites which receive information that's coming in from other neurons because they're all connected, and they connect in different places. They might be, direct connections, or they could be indirect connections. Direct connections tend to work better. They're also sometimes referred to as type 1 and type 2 neurons, but you can just think of them as directly connected or not connected. So sometimes what happens is, during a thing called an action potential, which is when a neuron becomes stimulated because its charge fluctuated from a resting state to like a firing state. Resting state is about 65 millivolts, but there's a threshold that it has to cross. So after it crosses this threshold, which I'll explain more in another video, it starts firing. So from this cell body, there's this thing called the axon hillock right at the base of this. The axon, or the long kind of root, meets with the body, and the firing comes from there. So after it goes from the body, you have myelin that covers the axon. It's protective. And what this means is that because it's protective, cells will be able to fire at a quicker rate. There are also things in the myelin called nodes of Ranvier, which are little gaps that also help speed up the function or the firing. We'll get into those kinds of cells, myelin specifically, in another video. So after these signals all fire and they go down from the cell body in the soma, after receiving information from the dendrites and shooting down the axon through the myelin, they then go to the axon terminal buttons. And basically, there's branches at the end of the axon, and they have these things on them called terminal buttons. And so what these do is they contain neurotransmitters, or chemicals that get sent across to other dendrites, which would be a direct connection, not an indirect connection, or a type 1. And these chemicals can compose everything about who we are. They make up our consciousness. They make up our reality. Isn't that amazing? I'll talk more about neurotransmitters and specific chemicals in the brain also in another video. So that's about it for tonight, guys, and you'll see a few follow-up posts explaining anything. If you have any questions, feel free to comment under the video. And I think what I might do is, for the pictures, instead of just putting them in this video, I'm going to post them in other posts. Alright guys, hope you have a good night. Bye.